Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the 8th and final part of our series on the parts of speech in English. This video will wrap up by discussing conjunctions, a group of words that are often overlooked but are vitally important to making sure that our sentences are understood. This video will cover what conjunctions are, and we'll talk about the three types of conjunctions: coordinating conjunctions, correlative conjunctions, and subordinating conjunctions. So like always, let's start with a definition. Conjunctions are so important to sentences because they are the words that link together other words, phrases, and clauses within a sentence to make it all work together. Think of conjunctions as the glue that holds different parts of a sentence together. Now let's talk about types of conjunctions. The most famous of the conjunctions are the coordinating conjunctions, and there are only 7 of them: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. If you're into acronyms, the way to remember them is fanboys. And coordinating conjunctions are used to join two clauses or parts of a sentence that are of equal weight. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos on diagramming, you might remember me talking about independent and dependent clauses. But the basic version of that is that an independent clause could be taken out of a sentence and still be a sentence on its own. But a dependent clause can't. Oh, and by the way, when I say clause, that's just grammar speak for a group of words that are together and contain one subject, which is like a noun or a pronoun, and one predicate, which is a verb. Coordinating conjunctions connect two of the same type of clause, usually two independent clauses, like in this example. I like cake, but I also like ice cream. Note that you could take both parts of the sentence on either side of the conjunction but, which would be I like cake, and I also like ice cream, and those would still be sentences on their own. They would each have subjects and verbs of their own. However, adding the word but connects them, and I should note here that conjunctions in these examples will be in brown font. Notice also the comma. It's standard to include a comma if you are using a coordinating conjunction to link two independent clauses. The second type of conjunctions we'll talk about are correlative conjunctions. Correlative conjunctions are pairs of conjunctions that often work together, words like neither nor and either or. These words can of course be used by themselves, but when they're used together we call them correlative conjunctions. An example might be something like, I want neither the fish nor the chicken. Finally, let's talk about subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions are used to connect an independent clause, remember that's a clause that can stand on its own as a sentence, with a dependent clause, which is a clause that can't stand by itself as a sentence. There are lots of subordinating conjunctions, so unlike the coordinating conjunctions, where there's only 7 of them, it's not really feasible to just memorize them all. Instead, look for dependent clauses that are separated from the rest of a sentence, either with a comma in a subordinating conjunction, if the dependent clause comes first, or sometimes just with a subordinating conjunction if the dependent clause comes after an independent clause. Here are 2 examples. Example number 1, after I leave, please vacuum the carpet. In this sentence, the conjunction after introduces the dependent clause after I leave, which is highlighted in light pink here. Please vacuum the carpet is an independent clause that could be a sentence by itself, and it's highlighted in blue. Another example, I went to school once I had eaten breakfast. In this example, the independent clause comes first. It's I went to school. Then the subordinating conjunction once introduces the dependent clause, once I had eaten breakfast. Here is an incomplete list of subordinating conjunctions. Remember, there are more than just the ones here, but these are some of the most common ones. And that's really about it for conjunctions. And that also wraps up our series of 8 videos on the 8 parts of speech. So thank you all for watching. Leave comments or questions below as always, and stick around for our next grammar topics.